The Say Something podcast is brought to you by amomentwithmorris.com and blackblueprints.com. That's blackblueprints with a Z.com. I am Jermaine Morris here with the one and only Mr. Barry Accius.
Yes, sir.
Bringing the newest installment, the newest episode of the Say Something podcast.
Say something, say something, say something.
Stuff that what we see going on out here in the traffic, out here in this world, out here in these streets, that not only we, as in me and Barry, but we feel we, as in everybody, needs to say something about.
Yes, sir.
We're bringing you episode 19.
I told you we'd be there, brother. We getting there 1 week at a time.
Every Wednesday we drop new episodes online. You can check them out on SoundCloud. You can follow the page, leave comments, like the posts, all that sort of stuff. Give us feedback on how you feel.
Definitely give us feedback on what you feel and what you think we should be doing. And trollers troll away.
Oh yeah, gotta let a troll be a troll.
And a hater be a hater.
That's it.
And for everybody that supports the Say Something podcast, we do appreciate you. Everybody understands that it's a process. I try to tell my young people, it's a process. It's a marathon, not a 100-yard sprint.
Exactly. You take some people have the luxury, if they do podcasts, if they do shows, and they're already been in blockbuster movies, or they've already been, platinum selling recording artists.
Say that.
It's a little bit easier. But when you on the grassroots, building up your base and all that, it takes a little bit of time. But if you keep putting out a good product, you keep putting care and concern into it, if you speak it, they will listen.
They definitely will listen. I think it's all about consistency. And we said that we actually made a pact this past week or so, said we are both going to be more consistent. So when these people are like, whoa, wait a minute, I didn't know you had a podcast, that's basically saying something to us, not really saying something and doing enough about it.
Enough. So we ain't going to leave you hanging again. Every Wednesday, new episodes drop, so you can always check.
Drop it on the one, boy.
So what's been going on out here, man? A lot of stuff happening in this life. First off, how you feeling?
Dude, I'm feeling blessed. I got a lot of things done for the week. It's always a constant struggle trying to open up the eyes of so many. Just got done doing an interview about racial profiling with Sacramento News and Review. I got to give a shout out to them. They rock with me. It's unfortunate because it's a white based magazine.
Yeah.
That's the alternative to the other news out here. They get a real heavy push out here and a real heavy run. But black media doesn't really rock with me like that.
Yeah, but when you want to get the word out and you want to get, telling the story that necessarily needs to be told, you got to do what you got to do and where you got to go to get it out there.
I think black media is scared of me. Local black media over here is scared of what I say and how I say it.
Very well could be the case, man. I mean, there are...
And I got friends that are in black media. Or I think we're friends.
Yeah.
We smile and say hi to each other. See, that's one thing. I think that a lot of people be faking. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people be faking. Because to me, it's I don't kiss ass. I just be telling the truth. I don't really cut with I'm not cut with a lot of bullshit. So it's it is what it is. Take it for what I see, and you can take it for what you see and believe what you may. But I speak my truth, and I don't try to get anyone to feel some kind of way, but usually people feel some kind of way, and especially people, I think that in the local media, they want local black media, they want to have a narrative. See, white media will just cut out the real shit that you say, or most of it, right?
Yeah.
Black media don't want you to say it too much because that's going to get the attention on black folk like them and say, well, why are you printing this black man speaking all this truth? And next thing you know, sponsorship goes away, all that type of shit.
Well, all these different things that go on in whatever a magazine or a newspaper or whatever media outlet has for what it is that they want to put out or not put out. I think the important part is to say something about it to wherever you can get it out. So if you're anybody and you're trying to get your word out about a message that you're passionate about, you may hit some resistance. There may be people who aren't messing with you. But if it's something that's important that needs to be said, like I said, going to an alternative group to get the word out, if that's what's going to help get it out, then you just keep doing what you got to do. And ultimately, those other kind of areas kind of work themselves out, because that's something that I think that when we need to say stuff about is that the importance of doing what you got to do. The importance of drawing your line in the sand, of standing on something, of making moves that's best for you. But almost in the case of, like keeping it real goes wrong. When is doing what you got to do, and then when is it going too far?
Well, I think I hear that, but then at the same time, I think a lot of times people want to keep the spots that they have, that they've gained for themselves. They want to hold that position for the longest, and they don't want anyone else's opinions, anyone else's thoughts, and anyone else's views to look what they're being said. And I think that in a sense of where we are, especially as black people, black folk, I don't know why it is. I think black folk be more intimidated and in fear of a black person, especially a black male or a strong black woman that tells the truth about the state of black America, like in America. Like, this is what it is, uncut, raw, truthful. They always want to kind of gloss and paint a picture. Then when shit really hits the fan, then people want to say something.
Okay, so sticking with that, so you talk about the groups, not even just keeping it on media publications, so not just about magazines, radio, TV, just businesses across the board who promote something a certain way or put a certain slant on something, or so take the Shea Moisture company. So this is a company that's base is.
Well, hold on. Shouts out to Shea of Life. If you want to go ahead and make the switch up now, y'all, go to my man Hecka. Shouts out Shea of Life.
If you look him up. We'll if you friends with either one of us on Facebook, we'll be sure to put a post up.
Shea of Life.
So see, give him the nod. But the Shea Moisture Company, if you're not familiar, because depending upon what your head looks like, you may not be. They're a company that has been based and rooted. Bread and butter has been black women's hair care products is their go-to. So they just hooked up with this big conglomerate media company, VaynerMedia, who's taking over like sports stuff. Gary Vee, the guy who's running it, he's like a machine right now when it comes to media and promotions. So they got a lot of deep pockets going a completely different direction for their launch. Like they're trying to make their company, exponentially grow. So in the new line that they got coming out, the new ad, a company that's bread and butter has been black women, was only featured one black woman, and she was of mixed ethnicity. So they came out, the whole campaign was women who were dealing with hair hate, like having problems with hair, having problems with frustrations. And they had a blonde white girl, redheaded white girl, and then they had a curly haired mixed black girl.
Sounds about right to me.
So when you start talking about, people you're going to put out there, or maybe you kind of lighten it up for the cameras. You're not going as hard for your home base because you're trying to appeal to a bigger audience, whether you're a magazine who doesn't want to use sponsorships, or you're a product that you kind of phasing your bread and butter out to try to get to a wider market.
Yeah.
That's something to say something about.
Well, I mean, I think that when you look at it, what is going to be your bottom line? Are you just going to focus on the Negro dollars, or are you, just like you said, are you going to look at a global aspect? But I also think that when you've marketed so much to us, you have to be understanding of the backlash and the black backlash that they
which
got.
Has been huge. They took the hashtag was all hair matters.
Oh yeah, all hair matters, and all this other
black women is coming with a
and we always come with the rage, but then at the end of the day, when does it ever end? I mean, the only reason why they disrespect, the only reason why they I feel utilize us for certain things, but then cut us out of other things, is because we don't stand enough, and economically we don't come together enough to put a stop to it. I don't think that if we stood on our morals as much as we really need to, that half of these things, these people who do these things when they're in the back room, they would not even suggest or think to do this stuff because they would already think it all the way through, like, well, we may get some pushback.
So what is it? So when is it looking out for your best interest, looking out for your bottom dollar, trying to be a successful company versus your ethical or moral obligation? So you take like a Bob Johnson, who had BET.
Yeah.
And when he had BET, you had shows like Teen Summit. You had shows that addressed social issues and stuff that the kids could watch. That, you know, they had, you know, when Ananda Lewis was over there, and you had, you know, you had all these people who were
don't get me back to fantasy.
Flashback. Shout out to Ananda. And so
where is she?
I don't even know. I know she did MTV after that, and then I don't even know what happened to her.
Damn.
But when you had all these programs that were learning programs,
I need somebody to find her.
You know,
like, no, seriously, I need somebody to go ahead and Google her, find out where the hell she's at.
We'll look her up. We'll look her up after the show. And so when you had those programs that were, you know, he was getting paper with solid quality programming, but the payday was selling. Yeah. So now that's a common thing where we build it up because it was all catered towards us. It was a black network.
Most definitely.
And then when the payday came, you know, he took the money and bounced, and then all the subject matter shifted to just booty shaking videos and trap videos, and I can't remember the last time I even looked at and saw BET.
Well, BET, I think that you have to look at it right now, and they have a lot of black TV shows with, you know, I'm talking original black TV shows, not
Sanford and Son.
No. I'm talking about original.
Oh, brand new
original
program
based strictly for BET.
Okay.
So they have a lot of those shows, whether they're good or not. Who knows? Okay. But I know that they have a lot of black actors and actresses that are taking the lead.
They're putting folks to work.
Yeah, they're putting folks to work, so you can't knock that. But at the same content, haven't we all heard the phrase of crossing over? Yeah. Hasn't that always been like the key phrase for the Negro to really get the maximum dollar if we cross over? Yeah. If I don't cross over, I'm only going to get marginal the amount of money and the marginal amount of the exposure. Like, think, for instance, we look at Jamie Foxx, right?
Okay.
If Jamie Foxx did not cross over, would Jamie Foxx be as well known? Would Jamie Foxx be this megastar? Now he's doing another TV show, and it's got to do about music and some crazy crap. I'm thinking like, and just to watching him in the commercial, I was just like, yeah, Jamie Foxx is clearly on the other side. But at the same time,
he went and got Tom Cruise's agent.
And you know they never ever actually came out. Like,
well, I don't now refer to his wife.
You talking about his agent?
But I'm talking about his agent.
Well, I'm talking about his wife.
Yeah, well, he got his agent to start getting
his wife.
Yeah, I think it was a package deal, and so he got his agent.
Say something.
So he could start getting those blockbuster roles.
Exactly. So you have him where he can still cross over, and he's still good in the hood. So I think it's almost like when you also look at Jay-Z, right? You know, you diversify your money, but you still are keeping it what some Negroes like to say hood, or still keeping it real. So you cross over a little bit, but I think sometimes when we cross over a little bit, I think it almost, for some individuals, becomes extreme.
Yeah, so when is it a point of, I guess we're trying to say something about it, where are we drawing the line? You know what I mean? Like, because as a business model, if you're saying that I'm making $100 million doing it this way, but if I switch this up, change this over, I'm looking at $350 million. Now, if you want to say to my community, my ethics or my responsibility to where I'm from, stick with $100 million because that's still good money. But if you're looking at a business model, you switch it up and go get your 350. So at what point is this a question of selling out? At what point is it a question of, you know, turning your back or not doing the right thing versus when is it, are you just about your paper?
What culture that's created something has ever stayed and become rich with just focusing on their culture, right? I mean, to be honest, would hip hop have been the mega success as it is now if it never crossed over?
No.
Okay, right. So what I think that even in a sense of like when you look at Tommy Hilfiger, Timberlands, right? Yeah. They weren't necessarily in the back of the lab and say, I can't wait for black folks to wear it.
In fact, it was the opposite.
From what people say, right?
Yeah.
But what we know is when those brands cross over to the more urban side, honestly, that boosted up their stock, that boosted up their mystique, and actually it made them a lot of money.
Yeah.
So in both levels, when you look at it, whether it's black, white, Asian, whatever, you may say, I'm gearing this more towards my people, but the money greed looks good in anyone's pocket.
Okay, something that you just said, which made me think about something which is interesting, that I don't think that we say something too. When you start looking at those different brands and those different groups, we look at it as, hip hop artists crossed over into mainstream because they started doing Tommy Hilfiger ads, they started doing polo ads or whatever.
And before you say that, and you also remember like guys like Hammer got destroyed because of that, and now he was the blueprint for it now.
Okay, but the point what I was looking at is no one ever really says that those companies grew exponentially because they crossed over to us. Like, we don't take the value on our side.
Well, that's what I just said with Tommy Hilfiger.
No, but I'm saying collectively. Yeah. Like, you don't really hear about saying Tommy Hilfiger, Polo, whomever crossed over into urban markets to be better. We say we crossed over into those markets to be better.
But I think that we did cross over to their markets. I think we exposed it. And once they saw, it's almost kind of like, I think, with hip hop, right? You got to remember, forget the black folks that were older that didn't want hip hop. White folks was banning it all over the place. I remember there was a time that you couldn't have hip hop music being played in the big arenas at high schools. You didn't hear that. Yeah. You had all the 80s rock and everything else like that. So when you look at it now, when they saw such a bum rush, no pun intended, shouts out to Public Enemy, of like this new urban wave of this hip hop music, this urban style, just like they do with anything else. They take full advantage and opportunities and make their money. The only thing that I see we do wrong is we don't take full advantage. So instead of our ownership part and keeping it and branding it like, okay, this is us. What Tommy Hilfiger, what Timberland, what Nike, they'll have a few Negroes posing and celebrating and advertising, but you Negroes will not own it. Where we is like, okay, here's hip hop, we own it. Oh, well, here's a little bit of money. Okay, you can have it. And now they can do whatever they want to do with it. So I look at it in a sense of they saw the end result, and that was there's going to be a lot of money being made toward this. So we're now going to fall in urbanizing some of our brand, but still keep some of our brand classic.
Okay, I get that, and I'm following with you. So I'm saying, so we like to look at, like I said, so if you take all, pretty much we do this with everything. So you can almost pick whatever line of business you want to think it is. Whenever we have an opportunity to get the payday, we take it. We take it over big picture.
Yeah.
So
we take it, and we usually don't set something else up to replace what we have sold.
Yeah. So when we're saying something to the effect of the people who are doing what they got to do for them, I guess maybe the question is as a collective, it's hustling backwards. But as an individual, is that bad business?
I mean, that's how we think, though. I mean, we don't think like a collective. We think as individuals. So in reality, that, people are outraged about, Shea Moisture doing whatever.
Yeah.
But why are you really outraged? You should have been outraged by us selling out hip hop. You know what I'm saying? You should be outraged that in every single commercial now, nationally, it has a blend of some type of hip hop twist.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, I'm hoping that some of these artists like Souls of Mischief, Ice-T, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm hearing some of their music being played are getting paid, right? But I guarantee they're probably not.
Probably not.
And
maybe an Ice-T. Maybe an Ice-T.
And the record labels are eating, right? So when I look at it and I say to myself, as an individual, I get it. As a group idea and function, it doesn't work for us because we don't have enough ownership. Say that with me, boys and girls. Ownership of our own products, like you have a Walmart can go sell this brand and that brand and still have Walmart.
Okay, so say we take it back a scale. We scale it back from a major entity like a genre of music or a whole television cable network. We start scaling back to this type of mentality and mindset on the individual. Because if you remember a couple of weeks back, the big thing that made the news was Janet, Miss Jackson, If You Nasty. So she was married, still currently married to Wissam El-Mana, who is a billionaire.
Oh, you got that right. That was good.
Yeah, a billionaire. His family's got the Saks Fifth Avenue money, long dough. And they got married without a prenup, but they did have a stipulation to where if they're married for 5 years, after 5 years, if they divorce for any reason, it's a $500 million settlement. So 5 years and 2 months, she filed paperwork. and had a baby. So not only does she get the $500 million payday for the marriage, she gonna get broken off the child support for almost 20 years. So that type of practice of doing what I got to do to get mine, like just so the question didn't answer. Is that mentality for the individual? Are we saying, all right, pimp the system, get your girl? That's Joe Jackson's baby girl right there. Or are we saying you shady mother effer?
Wait, so Janet Jackson again is 50-some years old, 50. Right? So she basically had a miracle baby. In so many words, right?
Well, when you're at that level, you're frozen eggs. Yeah. You get
it's real risky.
Fertilization clinics, all that stuff.
And did we ever really see her in her pregnant stage? She kind of went incognito, right?
No, they showed her. She was
showed a little bit.
She was a big girl,
but not heavy.
Yeah, no, she was big.
Now, when I say heavy, not like heavily in the media eye, right?
She was. So that was one of the things too. He was he wasn't big on her. He wanted a wife. Like, he didn't want to marry Janet Jackson. He wanted her, but for her to play the role.
So what domestic skills does Janet Jackson have? I don't know.
He just wanted her as a wife. I don't think he wanted her cooking and cleaning. He just didn't want his wife out there.
So isn't a wife supposed to have the cooking and cleaning skills?
I think not when you got that kind of money. But I think.
So what is she worth?
What do you mean?
I mean, he just wanted her as a trophy? What?
Yeah, more or less. But he didn't want his wife. So she had to change her tour. Because Janet's concerts was stomach.
Yeah, man.
But I mean, just
every minute of it. But again,
he didn't want his wife doing that.
Okay, yeah.
So a lot of her.
So what was his wife going to be doing?
Just being his wife.
So what does a wife do for being somebody's wife?
Just being his wife, like hook him up, let him know what that mouth do, sing him a song. I don't know, like he didn't want his wife on stage gyrating and dancing on dudes and that sort of stuff. He wanted his wife. If she gonna do all that, she gonna do her pleasure principle routine at the crib.
Let me just say something to this right here. Any woman that's gonna be my wife in the near future, we're not talking about just gonna be my wife. You're gonna have to be, doing more than putting up the bacon and not burning the bacon, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah. So, but I think, for them, if you have the ability to cut a $500 million check, they got servants and maids and butlers. If I
had money or not, man, what is the point? Like, we'll go on to that to a whole other show. But I'm saying, like, okay, here's the point.
Yeah.
Janet already got dough, bro. If the last time I remember, she was already cashed out, right?
They said she was worth a little over $100 million.
So when is we need to say something to when is enough? Like, how much more money do you need?
Which is what I'm saying. So are we saying to her, like, that's Joe Jackson's baby girl, get all the paper you can get them that you can, or you sold 5 years of your life for, now granted for $500 million, but that's, like I said, that's shade. Like I'm saying, where are we? We drawing the moral line on the individual, like we draw on the big picture stuff?
That dude got Charlie hustled, and I know black women are going off about the shade, moisture, and all that, but I know no black woman is even to speak against Janet Jackson, and I love my sisters, no disrespect, but they're probably applauding her and saying, "Go ahead, girl," because I haven't even heard any real black backlash on this.
He paid $500 million for what Justin Timberlake got for free.
Oh, and in the world.
In the world. What Jermaine Dupri was hitting for free. With a backup dancer was hitting for free.
Check this out. And I'm still going to go back into that. How the hell did Jermaine Dupri get that?
Right place, right time.
She must have been on some real...
Rebound like a mother.
Like, for real.
Yeah.
He
was really in the right place at the right time.
Very much so.
She came off that dude, the backup dancer that she was married to for all them years, and that was so volatile and went bad, he was right there with the rebound.
But then how does the backup singer get Janet and fuck that up?
The same way Britney Spears did, and Christina Aguilera's, and Jennifer Lopez's, and all them chicks who had low-level backup dancers who overreached.
See, that's why these mofos are giving common Negroes like ourselves a bad name when they should be picking and choosing the right thing. Halle Berry, Barry Accius. We can make a lot of...
Okay, so
leave that to that myself.
So like I'm saying, so when we look at the individual who's willing to do what they got to do to get their paper, are we saying something? No one's saying something about Janet being foul.
What are you gonna say?
Well, no, but
I'm just saying, what are you gonna say about it?
No, but I'm saying, is it the same? If we're saying that this individual is willing to do this, kind of sell out a little bit for the big payday as an individual, is that okay? But then we're going to cry foul when we talk about it as a major corporation doing the exact same practice.
Of course we're going to cry foul if a major corporation does.
Well, I'm asking, saying something, is that the same thing?
And I think what Janet Jackson is, she's Penny. She's Penny from Good Times. She's Janet Jackson. And you know what? At the end of the day, with all the shit that she's gone through, she deserves it. So I don't think that I think it's based on who is that individual person.
So
right?
we ain't even talk about the practice. We gonna personalize.
We're gonna definitely personalize it because we look at the individual person. Because if you look at it, Janet Jackson doesn't come off as a gold digger. Yeah. Janet Jackson has, for whatever reason, she's always had that good media presence. That there hasn't been overly a scandal based thing, even with her brother. Of course, some plastic surgeries here and there, and then of course the biggest thing was Tittygate. When she sold, and we
didn't even care about that.
No, they cared about that.
No. That we didn't care about it. Black people didn't turn their back on Janet. Didn't turn their back.
White world.
Yeah, they did.
And now
that's how you got Journey doing the Super Bowl, and the Black Eyed Peas doing the Super Bowl,
for 5-6 years every year
because of that Janet issue.
And then when you see Janet taking out the titty, you listen to some of the verbiage that they got on these shows nowadays. Yeah. You're saying like, huh? You know what I mean? Like, really? So she was ahead of her curve. I just think that we base it on the person, that individual. We personalize it. And I think that's what it falls into. It depends on who it is. Now, if it was an Amber Rose compared to a Janet Jackson, I think people would say something about it.
So I'm saying, so if you take what Janet did and what Bob Johnson did, they did it for damn near the same amount of money.
But if you look at Bob Johnson, you would look at it as he's a businessman. That's a smart business move at the time. Because in a sense of Bob Johnson doing it, you're thinking, well, there's going to be more behind Bob Johnson. Yeah. But that has not been it. Yes, we have Oprah. I think we have P. Diddy that got a little bit of something. We have Magic Johnson that got a little bit of something. But there's nothing like what Bob Johnson is doing.
Yeah, none of us supported the O Network or Revolt TV.
Well, they're still
around. That stuff. Well, no, I'm saying like we did BET back then.
But I don't think that we even supported BET like that. Like in a major way. It took some time as well.
I think we did it just inadvertently. I think that we supported BET because it was the black network to go to. If you wanted to see people who look like us, I don't think it was even a conscious decision of I'm going to support a black network. I think it was because the programming was better. Like the content was something that you would watch. So I think that that's what led to it, because the blueprint for what became MTV, the 10 years that followed, was all BET.
Oh, most definitely.
So I mean, it was a working machine that got a lot of viewers. But what I'm saying is like when we do stuff, like I said, we'll look at a Shea Moisture who's doing what they got to do to get the paper. Now,
Shea Moisture is fully black owned, right?
To my knowledge, I believe it is. So this is a company who made a power play because what they're trying to do is expand their brand and make more money. So this is more so a question. Are they wrong?
I don't think they're wrong, but I think what they should have been was smarter.
Because they apologized.
Yeah, of course. You're going to apologize because you're going to lose money. But they should have been smarter in how they presented the package. Because I think that you could get away with maybe one white girl, but you can't have a whole bunch.
Yeah, there was no full black girl.
And you need to have some browner skin tone sisters on there.
Yeah, it was one beige, curly haired mixed girl. Oh. Because their bread, in case you don't have it, their bread butter is the coarse, full hair. So I think their mentality is we're not going to lose them. Let's cater to these other groups that our numbers aren't high.
But we also have to remember that I don't think that everybody in their marketing team, maybe I'm wrong, are just all black.
VaynerMedia, no.
Yeah, so
if you're not familiar with VaynerMedia, Gary Vee, his goal that they always talk about is eventually buy the New York Jets. He's he owns part of Uber. He's
making money.
He got paper. He does a lot of business work and stuff. So the media company and Vayner Sports, he signed a lot of artists. You'll start hearing this. If you're not familiar with him now, you'll hear his name over a bunch of stuff. Yeah. So the fact that they got with him would let me know, just seeing that, is they've got big picture global plans to launch. So I think they're trying to tap into all the markets that they're currently not in. Hence the blonde white girl, the red haired white girl, and trying to get into mixed girls because of so much more interracial dating.
Yeah, and I think, not to cut you off, but I think that it's a smart move. But like I said, again, too many white girls. When you look at Cheerios and the commercial that they got heated from, to where they had to kind of take off the YouTube comments because people were going crazy.
Yeah, they just post the video without the comments.
Biracial parents with the biracial girl, and this is our world. This has been our word for a while, so you can't exclude those individuals. So in a sense of expanding your brand, I mean, you have to do what you have to do for business.
Okay, so going right with what you said there, because I think these things tie together strong. So the Cheerios commercial was black dude, white girl, mixed kid comes in and gives daddy the Cheerios. Yeah. I always say, too, if you ever want to test the racial climate in America, just go to the comment section of anything online. That'll let you know the racial climate of America.
Especially on YouTube.
Anything online.
I got trolls still to this day commenting on bullshit that I ain't even worried about.
So we make the argument as a people collectively. We're going to roast this hair company for expanding their brand by reaching out to other cultures is their goal, because they're a business and they're in it to make money. And you have companies who are reaching into our demographic to expand their brand. So you got the interracial families and car commercials, cereal commercials, because interracial dating has become so big. Now we're also still the same people who currently are roasting one Mr. Jesse Williams. So the Grey Anatomy,
you mean Jesse Williams, a.k.a. Malcolm X, a.k.a. Martin Luther King?
Yeah. Jesse took the time to, at the Soul Train Awards, where he gave his speech, the 3-minute
Soul
speech.
Train Awards?
I believe so.
I thought it was BET.
It was on BET. Maybe it was the BET Awards.
Ain't that crazy? Soul Train Awards on BET?
I
can't keep up, but go ahead.
Anyway, he gave a powerful speech talking about addressing, this was in the height of the Ferguson issues and all this, where he was, talking about how they need to relook at police departments and, how law enforcement agencies can roll up on a 9-year-old and smoke him in broad daylight, then go home and eat a sandwich.
He spoke some truth to power.
Yeah, and so, Sisters Across the Globe was championing him because Jesse Williams, if you've never seen him before, is biracial.
Yeah.
So now...
But he's black.
Yes. But that part is important for this next part.
Yeah.
So now Jesse Williams is divorcing his wife of X amount of years. I'm not
sure.
She's
black.
She's black. But the new chick he's been roaming with...
And she's white.
...is white. So now we like to say something about, this is saying something... Now, is he just doing what he got to do? Because he can be pro-black. This does not necessarily mean he changes any of his stances on anything that he said. And you hear a lot of time with sisters that say that if brothers get with a white girl, oh, you must not love your mother, or you must not love yourself. Jesse Williams' mama's white. So if he doesn't leaving a black woman his wife, not necessarily but getting with a white girl after, is that even something worth saying something about?
I mean, he got the... I love it. I just love it. Because I remember Jesse was saying his truth, and I was loving it, and I paraded it, and I was cool with it. But I was like, well, shit, I said the same damn thing, and nobody gave me the trophy or the golden whatever. But whatever. And now, I think that, again, hero worshiping, we get to the point where we believe our heroes are the people that fight for us, or the people that entertain us, or the people that may say great things in those moments. And I feel in the plateau that these Negroes share, that they should be able to open up degrees of conversation that we aren't able to do.
Yeah.
Because even if they get blackballed, there's some way for them financially to be okay compared to us. We get blackballed, we're going to be sleeping in Tent City. So now when you look at what he said, or what he has said, and he stood up for black folk, and then you turn around, the divorce is going down with the sister, and it now, from reports have it, they've been estranged for a while, right? So now you see.
Typically when you get divorced, you've been going through it for a minute,
now you see him with the little cutie white girl, and
she's cute. I'll give him that. He didn't get him,
listen. I love my sisters, but there's a few others that are cute. I mean, that's not saying I don't love my sisters.
Exactly.
But I've always struggled with this because I have a few soldiers or Negroes that act like they're soldiers and ready for black empowerment that have others as their wife or their girlfriend.
Yeah.
Their counterpart. I sometimes tend to wonder, what is the racial climate in the room, and how is the conversations being spread about the times that we're in, and how much do you guys really see eye to eye, or it's almost kind of like I go to church and you don't. We just won't talk about the Bible and Christianity in our household, right?
Yeah.
So at the same time, I myself, because I want to be very clear.
Yeah.
I have dated white girls. I've dated Asian. I've dated Mexicans. I've dated Middle Eastern girls. And in a moment when it was that time for me, it was okay for me. Now I deal with my sisters, and I always dealt with my sisters, but it's strictly like
exclusively.
To be honest with you, there's so many different shades and cultures within a culture of the sisters that I really don't have to go anywhere else, right? In my eye. But that could be someone else's thought pattern. So him speaking truth to power, I don't think negates him being true to what he's saying.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, again, I've had soldiers that I really wonder how much are they really taking a stance with their significant other on things that socially and directly affect us. Like if you have a white wife or a white husband, because it's on both sides.
It's not just white. Black dudes with white girls. Yeah.
Even with them understanding some of the things black people go through, I feel like their privilege always protects them, so they'll never really totally identify. Though I understand that in times where black people, and this is what we get wrong, just because that's a black person and we feel all black people should understand each other because we're black, in reality, we know this to be true, that if I live in a better social or economic part of town as a black person, and my black friends live in a more lower income part of town, we differ.
Yeah, there are some universal commonalities, but there are some cultural, social things that are different. Yes.
I know when I was coming up, I was considered not black enough because I wasn't from the hood.
Yeah.
You hear me? Where Cindy just looked at me as Barry, right?
Yeah.
And she opened up more, and me and her lived in the same area. So we actually identified a little bit better. Your
day-to-day life is very common.
Very common.
You go to the same school, same store, same park,
So the cultural difference is what is the cause and effect. And I look at that as being some of those differences, right? Okay. And some of those exchanges that happen in a household where you have to look at that. Well, I really don't, and I hear it from a lot of my young men, I just don't connect with certain black girls.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's just the same way with women. And when I say that, I say, I wonder why. But then I understand my reality is not the same reality as that black person's reality.
Exactly.
So when you look at what Jesse might have done, it's alarming, but I am not surprised because we have a lot of Negroes that speak truth to power that secretly are dating white women, Latino women, whatever. I just say, just to finish my point, that what is truly the conversation and how do you really empower black people when you have a white person or another, and I'll just say white because some cultures can identify with certain struggles. You have a white person that has their white family, you have your black side, and you're telling me that you guys are all coming together on a common goal saying we have to empower black people?
I get that. Is there a caveat to that when you're talking about somebody who's one of their parents is white? Because that's why I use him as a reference, because to him, that's what his parents' household looks like. That one of them identified with, because you got to remember his parents' age was the civil rights era age. So,
but do you think he's thinking like that?
Well, no, but I'm saying what he grew up under was one parent who saw it directly firsthand experienced, and the other parent who to a degree empathized, and I don't know them, so I don't know what the conversation was like in the household that he grew up in. Is it different? Because, like I said, he found a woman that looks like his mama. So it's not like you know what I mean? Like, it's so when it comes to identification, like, he identifies with that woman. So, I mean, he may not stay with the white girl. Like, this may just be something that's on the site for 2-3 weeks, and then all of a sudden you see him with Lupita, next month. But as for saying something to the effect of, like I said, he's middle of the road anyway. So does that change any of that?
I think that you can't knock who you love. You can't knock who you like. I mean, you would hope that he looks at on a difference and say, I know what I may face, the backlash that I may face, but in the same sense, I'm just going to kind of play my part. So I really don't. I just think that people do what they want to do for themselves. Yeah. I don't think he's worried about what individuals may think or may say. But that's, again, why we don't need to put our stock into good talk. We don't need to kind of put our all into people that we don't really know. We don't really know how he clicks or ticks. We know how he talks. It sounds good. Yeah. We know a few actions. Sounds great. It's very articulate. Awesome. But to keep this whole thing black, I feel more comfortable with dating my own. Okay. That's just me. Yeah. I'll take the bourgeois, I'll take the hoodie, I'll take all of those other differences that we have. Yeah. But I know at the end of the day, culturally, we understand each other a little bit better than that individual, my understanding. Okay. And then I also look at it, black women age a lot better. Yeah, melanin is freaking the best friend of a black woman. I'm just being honest.
We're not disagreeing.
And there's so many different shades. It's just like, it's great. Like, I just don't live in this era. Like, I really want to know from, my brothers who date white women now. Yeah. We're not talking about like high school. We're not talking about early 20s, like when I used to do it, like now. Now we got somebody in here that could probably answer that question for us, but we're not going to even get on that young whippersnapper, right? I'm playing. Exactly. But I really want to know, like, because I see a lot of my brothers going hard for black. Yeah. Going hard for black. And then I turn around and I be like, all right. Then I was like, huh? I'm like, it don't make sense to me, but it may make sense to them.
I can say personally, I dated Middle Eastern, Latino, whatever. Not to me dipping in the white pond in the course of my time on this planet.
I used to flip in there. Like,
primarily because
Tootsie roll in there, bro.
Primarily because of the cultural disconnect. So if you find, just my experience, I can't speak for anybody else's experience. I'm just going off the people I knew. So there were certain similar struggles based upon different ethnicities.
I don't know. When I used to date the white girls, I had a lot of fun with it, man. I really did.
Yeah, I think just to me,
I can't do it now.
Yeah, I think just there was, I've always said, I just needed some color. Like
the tan wasn't tan enough.
Some kind of something. You know what I mean? Like just like that was just kind of my thing.
I think I would have probably dated a lot more Middle Eastern girls if their fathers liked me.
Yeah.
Yeah, they date
a couple.
Yeah,
that does come up.
Yeah.
That does come up. So
I've had to hide in closets, under beds, jump out of
that stuff comes
freaking windows, man.
But then I look at, so on their side, that's back to the doing what you got to do. There are parents who look at their kids who say, I want my son or my daughter to stay within our line, our group. Not that I don't dislike, the dude she came home with, or I don't like the girl that he's dating, but I prefer to break my kids under this.
But also we talk about that, and I hear you.
Yeah.
But I was just remembering, as this conversation is ringing in my head, I remember my cousins saying that they chose this guy who was not our color because they wanted to have their babies have good hair.
See, that's a completely different conversation.
That's crazy shit.
That's a completely different conversation. If you tell me that, like I said, looking at the whole thing of doing what you need to do in your lifetime, because I am a firm believer in it's your life. So if you decide that you want to live your life for everybody else, and then when your time is up, you feel dissatisfied, unfulfilled, and unhappy because you gave your entire existence to everybody else's opinion and what everybody else thought you should have did with your life.
That sucks.
Yeah, exactly. So I would say that if you're somebody who's like, look, I got to get mine in this life because it's the only life I got. There's a nod that I say, I get that. But at what point do we say anything to the sense of, I respect the fact that you could, but I question if you should.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I definitely understand what you're saying.
So at what point is it, like I said, so we look at, you got Jesse Williams, who's, his claim to fame over the last 2 years, whatever, has been standing up for all these pro-black issues. Then he leaves. I'm not even going to say he left her. For all I know, she left him. I don't know the details of that. For all I know.
We know what's going on.
Well, I don't. For all I know, she could have cheated on him. Like, I'm just saying.
Have you seen his wife?
I've seen his wife, but that,
Okay.
But
I'm just saying. And there's no knock.
But
all black is beautiful.
But stick with that is if he's on the road a lot, he's doing all these speaking things a lot.
You know what I said last. You know what I said in a few shows ago. You know what I said.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm saying she could be at the house lonely.
That goes back to what I'm saying.
Okay. So she could have stepped out. But I'm saying I don't know that man. I don't know that woman. So I can't speak on whatever that is. But so in any event that relationship ends, he get with the woman that looks like the woman that he grew up with. He's gonna face now social media backlash at least for a few weeks. Yeah. As long as every time he shows up with this girl, until he shows up with somebody rocking a natural, he's gonna get roasted.
I think what's really gonna define it is how much of a fiery black man does he become and stay with his now new booty on his shoulder.
Does that matter?
I think it does. Okay. I think because if his whole mood and his ideologies changes up, then Negro, you was a fraud.
Okay, but what if he just stays the course? Like there's no, he's just him. Like and who he's with is just who he's with.
And guess what? What if she runs with him?
So say this new chick is the chick on board.
She's Black Power too now, man.
She's Tina Marie to his Rick James. Like she's
oh my god,
she giving you the square biz. Like she's down with the cause, and she's showing up at the events right along with him.
I think that would be special.
You know what I mean?
I love that.
Does that take away anything? Does that change anything?
I think it's all left to be said and to be seen, and for us to say something when it does happen. I just look at it that, again, stop your damn hero worshiping.
Okay.
That's what I look on that. Stop your hero worshiping. Stop looking for people to be the segue of your life that you feel is not being done properly with yourself. Like, be what you want to be. Don't let someone else be it for you.
Okay, so do you apply that same thing to, say, the Shea Moisture company?
Yeah, I told them, go to Shea of Life.
So, realistically, the saying something to them is everybody just need to kind of get over it.
I mean, to be honest with you, it's like this. Understand it's about money. Black people ain't going to... What I've learned, yes, I have a Black Blueprint apparel shirt.
Yeah. I
have stopped focusing on men and women, and I've focused on women. Why? Because women are going to buy before men.
Yes.
Men will ask, hey, can I get that? Men will look and be like, well, man, I know someone who does. It will be a lot of different funny stuff, right? Yeah. Men will go buy Nike. Men will go buy Polo before they buy a shirt that means something, right? Yeah. Regardless of how it stands by other shirts and comparisons. This is a black man that's putting powerful black messages on a shirt.
Yeah.
And you don't want to support that? All right. But the black women, they're not worried about it. They're like, yo, I like it. It looks
good. It looks good on me.
I'm going to go ahead.
Yeah.
So I don't think any black person, and that's our problem. That is our biggest problem.
Yeah.
if we would learn how to keep us in business, we wouldn't have to go do business with others. To that point,
it wouldn't even be a question,
well, not even a question.
Of having
like,
to sell.
Because anybody in marketing would have said, "Dog, that ain't gonna work." Just like anybody in marketing, when Pepsi did that fiasco commercial with Kendall Jenner, and they was trying to glorify,
police brutality, riot, all that could be glorify
with protesting, like, oh yeah, it's a happy celebration. Someone would say, "Listen, yo, I don't know what the hell you guys have been smoking. We can't do that."
Yeah,
because Shay could have put their little white girl in there, right? And then you put some chocolate dips in there. You'd have won. You'd have been okay. Move on, and it would have been A-okay. But in reality, we just don't think smart like that.
Or here, you take it a step further and you say, look, we planned this. You just got a company. Realistically, I had never heard of Shea Moisture before today.
And I think this is good press for him.
So you just hooked up with this major media mogul dude, and the first campaign he puts out for you, you're now a trending topic and a global story. So what you do now is you make your apology. You donate some money to a couple of programs or a school, but you've now got your product out globally, which is trending on every Instagram, Twitter, all that Facebook page, all that stuff. I wouldn't even be surprised if they didn't come up with the hashtag All Hair Matters.
Oh,
just to link it to the product.
Well, it creates the All Hair Matters, what makes it seem another slap in the face with the Black Lives Matter. Like people don't take it seriously.
Nope. Not at all.
Because you know what I'm saying? Like, really.
I mean, for real. Like, we are a group of people whom our loyalty is consistently in question.
Yeah.
So we'll look for the payday. We'll look for the personal gain. We are really only I get mine. Now you get yours.
Gotta get mine. Gotta get yours. I gotta get mine. You gotta get yours.
Shout out to Pop. So
shout out to MC Bree too. R.I.P. to both of them.
R.I.P. to both of them. There ain't no future in neither one of them.
And we always be fronting. So it's like we're going to get mad at Shea Moisturizer today.
Yeah.
Right? But then we're going to go give Lil Wayne a pass after he talks about, I love all my bitches. Right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're going to give a pass to Chris Brown, even though he's stalking a woman. We're going to give a pass to R. Kelly, even though he's pissing on chicks. So it's just kind of like.
So is. All these people who are out there doing what they need to do to get by, whether they're a major multi-million-dollar business who's protecting their bottom line, whether they're an individual who, regardless of whatever rhetoric they spouted, is just, I got to live my life. I got one life to live. I'm just out here doing what I got to do. Or if it's, hey, I may be doing straight, but let me give 5 years of my life and I'm setting up my grandkids. $500 million. She got Michael money now. Like, it's, I mean, is there a line to be drawn? Like, when we think about what it is that we'll do as the individual, what we'll do as a company or corporation, what we'll do as a group of people, is there a line? Like, where are you over the line when it comes to, I mean, short of causing somebody harm, like short of, we're not talking about, human trafficking, we're not talking about abusing, but where is it past I'm just living my life versus I'm out of bounds?
I mean, there's a lot of things that you just pointed out that is out of bounds, but at the end of the day, we socially accept everything.
Okay.
We name one person in the black community, whether it been cooning, been trifling, been a sellout, sold in, as some people would like to say, been destructive. When's the last black person we kicked out? Shit, we barely even. Most try to kick out Bill Cosby. He's still around. You know what I'm saying?
Bill ain't off the reservation.
No, so
we just not to cut you off. We just doubled down on Bill with this Bill O'Reilly stuff. We circled the wagon around Bill and said Bill O'Reilly needs to be roasted like Bill Cosby was, and we circled the wagon back around him. Bill's back in good graces now.
And Bill O'Reilly exists to wait for another payday.
Yeah,
but I just think that we socially accept so much that we're afraid to speak out. And if we speak out, we're afraid to push out and let the Negro, whoever has defied or broken the common rules. First of all, the Negro don't have any true core values or any kind of black law,
no
black
cultural loyalty.
No, there's no cultural loyalty. There's no cultural rules. There's no, if you do this right here, you're done.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we can rehabilitate this Negro. And I think that it's gotten to the point to where when you have people like Amber Rose that can walk on and create a movement called the Slut Walk and this be socially accepted.
Well, partially that she didn't create it, but she did spearhead it out. It's something that was up in Canada.
Okay.
But she did bring to the forefront in the streets of LA and then help organize it to be bigger here.
Yeah.
But speaking to what you were saying before about how we don't ostracize. We don't kick. No one gets voted off the island in our community.
Not at all.
Like we were saying that before. One of the shows, like you can always come home.
Not at all. No one gets voted out.
Put it this way, OJ's up for parole this year,
and he'll be welcomed with open arms.
He will be cheered when he gets out of prison.
He'll be welcomed with open arms, and he will be. We're gonna be running his old football videotapes, and the white folks will vilify him, but we will
welcome Juice back because Juice is the poster child for beating the system.
Oh yeah. So for a little bit at least.
Well, I mean that first run, that. But
then he got too cocky and arrogant.
Exactly, and after that, going to prison for kidnapping, burglary charges, we will still welcome him back.
Oh yeah.
Beat a double homicide, arrested for kidnapping, burglary, and he will be a hero when he gets out of prison at 70-something years old.
When you look at as the amount of Negroes that have been cooning, have been practicing coonism, have been selling out African Americans for the last, let's say the last 10 years, forget it. Let's say the last 5 years. We are the most forgiving, most pass it over, most no, maybe, and that's all we do.
Let's stay on that one for a second because that's become that word has resurfaced heavy.
What's cooning?
Yeah, this last decade. You didn't really hear about cooning in the 80s or 90s.
Man, no.
You know what I mean? It just wasn't, it was a 60s term, 70s term. You didn't really hear it too much 80s, 90s, early 2000s.
Even though Negroes was totally cooning.
Now, they was practicing the behavior, but the term was, you would hear sellout. Or you might hear Uncle Tom thrown around. But the word coon has been coming back strong this last 10 years.
It is back.
So we saying something to the effect of, do we chalk up cooning with getting paid? Like, is it just if you're a business or you're an entity who does certain practices for yourself to get a paycheck, do we just put that as an acceptable behavior right there with, I'm a shuck and jive.
Yeah.
I'm a smile for the cameras.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be exploited. I'm gonna do all this, slap happy coolness because for whatever. Now, it may not even be a check, but it may be an opportunity.
Most of the coons are getting paid. So yes.
So we just.
Yes, cooning is the way to go. If you want to get that real, I'm just being honest, man. It's either you cooning or you not saying nothing. I mean, that's truth. I mean, am I wrong? Like, who is every Negro to the point? Excuse me, not to say every Negro. A majority of the Negro, when they've had the time, the mic to speak truth to power, a majority of the Negroes coon out.
You don't get Tariq Nasheed, you get Stephen A. Smith.
No, you don't get Stephen A. Smith. You get Charles Barkley. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So whoever, you get Steve Harvey. And granted. Like Steve Harvey for the argument of him, he's done a lot for the black community. But still people have to understand the cooning part comes when you do certain things when you don't have to do.
Exactly.
That's the thing. Like, you don't have to do that. And we're not knocking the things that you do for us, but I don't need you to feed me dinner, but you refuse to feed me breakfast and lunch.
Yeah.
Like, what does that mean? You know what I'm saying? Okay, what about the rest of the day? I mean, I'm hungry, right?
Yeah.
So, here's your dinner. Like, okay, so breakfast, lunch, we ain't gonna work that out?
Yeah.
Figure it out yourself. So, I don't take face value for Negroes doing a few good things for the community. First of all, half the shit is a tax write-off. And secondly, you know what? I don't know really Negroes' intentions. Because the way I look at it, to be totally honest and to be very frank, the black community should not be suffering the way we're suffering if we have multiple millionaires, a few billionaires, multiple Negroes in high power positions, politically or elsewhere.
Yes.
And the fact that we have ingenuity And a lot of Negroes, and we're not talking about the artist, or we're talking about the sports athlete, or
about the engineers.
We have a lot of Negroes making power moves.
Yeah, the highest graduating group of advanced degrees
are black women.
Are black women in the United States.
And we are still in the same position that we was, if not worse.
Worse.
So how do we even sit there and tell ourselves that it's just the white man issue, it's a black man and a black woman issue? Because we're not taking accountability, and we're not just saying, you know what, let's just work together, let's build, let's not coon, let's just be able to be okay with saying, hey, like, you know what, yeah, I made it, I might be the pick of the litter, but at the end of the day, this is not the majority. I am a minority, and we all know how white corporate America works. They will always put a black person in a position of power to make him feel like he's in power, but he is usually, or she is usually, powerless.
So I think that the things that go on out here, that as we move as individuals, when we try to do what we want to do for our personal lives, our personal gain, when we're trying to do stuff on the corporate level, when we're trying to expand business, when we're trying to just really be the best at it, whatever it is that we can possibly be, we have to be mindful of the line that we walk and mindful of the line that we cross. That we can't sit there and try to say that there's no holds barred when it comes to trying to cash a check or, do what we want to do, and then still try to turn around and get up in arms when we see something that we don't personally like as an individual. It is important that we get out there and get involved, that we do respect the line, that we do have some cultural loyalty, that we do, believe in the cause and are willing to make some sacrifices for the betterment of all of us as a people. And when these things are going on, when these things are happening, instead of just quietly sitting back waiting for your personal agenda, that even if you don't feel like you got a horse in the race, these are things that need to be brought to light, and these are things that we need to say something about.
Yes, say something.
I'm Jermaine Morris here with the one and only Mr. Barry Accius.
Yes, sir.
Where can folks find you online to keep up with you?
Facebook, Barry Accius, BerryAccius, and of course, Instagram at Team Voy, and Barry Accius, same name, first and last, Twitter.
As well as blackblueprints.com.
Definitely blackblueprints.com with a Z, and Black Blueprints Apparel. Cop yourself some gear now, people.
I'm Jermaine Morris on Facebook. Every other social media platform, it is J Morris CEO. I'm Jermaine Morris, here with the one and only Mr. Barry Accius. And until the next episode of the Say Something podcast,
say something.
And we'll holler at you later.